Welcome to Gil's Kitchen. Today we're making turkey pot pie. I call this my 4-3-2-1 and a half turkey pot pie. Today we're making my 4-3-2-1 and a half turkey pot pie. 4 cups of turkey, cubed, 3 medium to large potatoes, 2 carrots, 1 rib of celery, and 1/2 cup of green peas. I love making this turkey pot pie. So let's get started. You're going to use a 9 or 10-inch deep dish pie pan, and you need 2 pie crusts. We're going to use a bottom and a top crust. I've already cubed 4 cups of turkey breast, and we're going to prepare our vegetables, and they get cooked in a broth. I boiled the carcass of my turkey, and I made a stock. And I added some paprika and a little salt to the water and a little bit of poultry seasoning. You can use your own stock or you can use any sort of broth that you want. This broth smells so good. I never let a turkey or chicken carcass go to waste. I usually make my own stock. Let's add the potatoes. And you see the size pieces that we have. Now we're going to add our celery and carrots. Since this is not a store-bought broth, it has no added salt. So I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt. You want that water to move a little when you add your salt because you don't want it sitting on the bottom of your pots and pans because it will cause pitting in some pots and pans. If you want to, you can add a couple of teaspoons of minced onion, and this will give our veggies a little flavor. I don't put onion in my turkey pot pie, but I do flavor it with onion. You could also use onion powder, and we will season everything once we assemble this. So our veggies have cooked about 6 or 7 minutes, and we're not trying to get them done. We're just trying to soften them a little and get them on their way. We're going to drain these and put them in a large bowl. So these are our vegetables that I've drained, and I've reserved the stock. I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of thyme. End of the thyme. It's the end of my time. 1 teaspoon of poultry seasoning. If you use a store-bought broth and it's not flavored the way that I flavored my own broth, you could add some smoked paprika to this. And I'm going to add another teaspoon of salt to my veggies because I only season the broth with 1 teaspoon. I'm adding a few shakes of black pepper. And if you don't have poultry seasoning where you live, you could use a combination of some ground sage and some thyme. Or if you are a huge fan of sage, you could add a little more sage. I think I'm going to sprinkle just a little in. I like to add these powdered seasonings while the veggies are warm. They kind of soak up that seasoning. So let's add our 4 cups of diced or cubed turkey. The smell and the combination of spices, this is going to be so good. This is a great way to use up that leftover turkey from Thanksgiving. And of course, you can always use chicken in this recipe. The last thing we add is 1/2 cup of peas. I have canned peas today. You could use a 1/2 can if you like. You can obviously use fresh peas. If you use fresh peas, you don't need to add them until the end. You don't need to cook them with the other veggies. So let's give this a toss. Now let's put our mixture into our pie crust. And you see why we need a deep dish. I love it when the pie is completely filled. Empty the contents of 1 can of cream of chicken soup to a bowl or measuring cup that you can microwave. I'm going to add to our cream of chicken soup a 1/2 cup of this warm broth. I'm going to stir it a little to get it combined, nice and creamy. And sometimes I may add a little more. It just depends on, you know, how many vegetables I have. Sometimes the potatoes are a little larger, sometimes the carrots are a little larger. So I'm going to add another 1/2 cup. And you want this to be nice and creamy. You don't want this to be real liquidy, so no more than 1 cup of broth. Okay, I decided to go ahead and microwave this for about 60 seconds because I want this very, very smooth. So let's pour this over. This is going to run into all those nooks and crannies. So let's just kind of even this out just a little. All right, so I think that's just perfect. I think adding 1 cup of the broth was the right thing to do. Let's get the top crust on here, and this is going in the oven. So let's transfer our top crust onto our turkey pot pie. Big turkey pot pie. Oh la 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 la. So I have quite a bit of extra here. Go around and cut this. And you'll see what I'm going to do with this extra. Just a minute. Fold the top over the bottom crust the best you can. And this is a savory pie, so you don't have to spend a lot of time crimping the crust. The point of this is to be delicious, not to look pretty. Of course, if it looks pretty, that's great too. So I'm just folding that under and pinching it. This is such a hearty pie. So you have a couple of choices here. Since this is a savory pie, you could just take a fork, the tines of a fork, and go around and mash this flat. And that would be the simplest thing to do. After you get this lip made, you can push it back down on the top of your pie pan. Depends on what kind of pie pan you're using. But I'm just going to very quickly make a pattern. Nothing fancy. I'm just using my middle finger and pushing this dough between my other 2 fingers. Now, if this were a pecan pie, I would be spending a little more time on this. But this pie isn't going to last long after it comes out of the oven today. All we need to do is make a couple of vent slits. Because this pie will be bubbling. I'm actually going to do 4, not a couple. I'm going to do 4. So we have a little bit of pie crust left over, and that was intentional. I have this adorable turkey cookie cutter. And I am going to take these 2 pieces. I wet this one, and I'm just going to mash it and form one. I'm gonna make a turkey. I can't resist. This turkey cookie cutter came from the cranberry sauce people years ago. Ocean Spray offered these free, and then of course I sent off for one. Is that not cute? So he is going on the top of our pie. Let's make one more. Let's make a whole flock of turkeys. Whenever I use canned cranberry sauce, I slice my cranberry sauce in the rings, and then I make turkeys. I think I'm having more fun making the turkeys. This pie goes in the oven on the middle rack at 400 degrees for the first 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, turn this down to 350 degrees for the next 45 minutes. You'll know it's ready because it will be bubbling. The last 20 minutes, you'll want to cover this with foil so you don't burn your turkeys. Our turkey pot pie just came out of the oven. This is a beauty, and it's going to taste even better than it looks. We're going gonna let this cool for about an hour and let the juices set up, and then we're gonna slice into this. I love a good turkey pot pie, and this one is delicious.